All right.
I also said, you know, the last thing I said.
Oakland's Chief, right there. Oh, there she is.
Revelry, time. Personnel, ready.
Good afternoon. I am our Honor Guard Lieutenant Jen Marvelous, and on behalf of Chief Ed Barbaroon, I would like to welcome and thank all of our elected officials, dignitaries, involved presenters, community members, all of our S.M.P.D department personnel, our S.M.P.D Honor Guard, S.M.P.D retirees, and the San Mateo Consolidated Fire Department personnel for being here today as we honor San Mateo Police Detective Sergeant Gordon Joinville on the week of the 53rd anniversary of his death at this very location. It is our standing tradition to honor such a hero who made the ultimate sacrifice for the community we serve, and we are grateful you are here with us today. I would now like to introduce retired S.M.P.D officer, Chaplain Jeff Dick, who will lead us in an invocation.
Good afternoon. Again, it is nice to see everyone here. 53rd. As we gather to remember Gordon Richard Joinville. As I look around to all the young men and women in uniform from the fire service and police, I see very few that would have been born in 1968. So I ask myself, why are we here? I do these memorials for 3 hours. We're here to remember. We're here to remember the sacrifice of fallen warrior. Brother in the San Mateo Police Department, lost to senseless violence. Today we also remember Gordon's wife, Margaret, who can't join us this year because of her physical ailments. Margaret and her 2 children made sacrifices as well. They endured, but were forced in making a life-altering decisions upon Gordon's death. Margaret lost a husband, and the children lost a father. Number 2, we rejoice. We gather to rejoice in the once-wide life of Gordon, and to proclaim, we will never forget. And lastly, respect. We are here as a sign of respect to all the men and women who serve in the public safety services across this nation. Those who risk their lives every day to protect us. In the book of John chapter 15, something before that. From the book of John, chapter 15, verse 15. Greater love hath no man than this, that he or she lay down his life for a brother. At this time, I invite you to bow your heads for a moment of prayer. Merciful Father, we pray that our brother Gordon is found your protection and grace as he serves you now in the kingdom of heaven and fulfills his days of eternal life. We pray for all the men and women who serve in the public safety professions around this great nation. Guide them, protect them, strengthen them during this period of unrest and discontent. Father, they serve as they protect your flock here on earth. And lastly, we pray that our nation can heal from its current wounds, that we can unite for a common good, that each man, woman, and child may live in a world of peace without regard to ethnicity, gender, religion, orientation, or political affiliation. Father, in all this we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Jeff. I would now like to introduce S.M.P.D Honor Guard Sergeant Kurt Roddenfield.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the San Mateo PD Honor Guard, I would like to thank you for being here today as we honor Detective Sergeant Gordon Joinville on the 53rd anniversary of his death at this very location. It's a standing tradition to honor such a hero who made the ultimate sacrifice for the community and the department that we serve. Sergeant Gordon Robert Joinville was born on July 30th, 1933 in San Francisco. He had two younger sisters. When his parents divorced in 1943, Gordon Joinville was sent to a boarding school in Berkeley until he lived with his mother in Sparks, Nevada. After high school, Gordon Joinville joined the United States Navy and was stationed at Corpus Christi, Texas as a jet engine mechanic. After serving for 2 years, he was honorably discharged when it was discovered that he had double vision. In 1956, Gordon started his law enforcement career with the San Mateo Police Department. During his 12 years as a police officer, Sergeant Joinville left his legacy by working with youths of the city. This was evident with the hundreds of letters Margaret Joinville, Sergeant Joinville's wife, received from parents expressing their appreciation for Sergeant Joinville's help with their children. Sergeant Joinville was also credited for devising a record-keeping system for the juvenile contact reports, or JCRs, that were implemented countywide and would alert officers of repeat juvenile delinquents. Sergeant Joinville met his wife Margaret in 1959. During their courtship, she became a certified scuba diver, just like him. They were married in October 1961 and settled down in San Mateo. They had two children, a boy Larry in 64 and a girl Sandra in 65. May 23rd, 1968 marks the darkest day in San Mateo PD's history. About 1 week before that dark day, our very own Sergeant Joinville received a phone call from the office manager at a local pharmaceutical supply store. She called S.M.P.D because she was concerned about a man who was representing himself to be an assistant to a professor at Stanford Medical School. This man wanted to purchase a 100-pound container of pill binding starch. When she asked the subject for a contact phone number to notify him when the product came in for the supplier, he would not provide one. He simply told her he would come back a week when the product came in. Sergeant Joinville astutely asked her to call back when the mail came back to pick up the product. The following week, on May 23rd, 1968, the reporting party at the pharmacy called back and told Sergeant Joinville that the man had returned. Sergeant Joinville asked her to delay the purchase as long as possible so he could respond to the location and investigate the matter. The RP completed the sales transaction and asked the suspect to drive the vehicle back to the loading dock so the heavy container could be placed in the back seat. Sergeant Joinville arrived driving an unmarked car in the civilian clothing and talked to the suspect drove away. The loading bay employee gave Sergeant Joinville the vehicle description, license, and direction to travel. Sergeant Joinville immediately headed to that direction and located the vehicle. The suspect realized he was being followed and tried quickly to speed away. At approximately 1700 hours, Sergeant Joinville then turned on his emergency equipment and pulled the suspect vehicle over at 5th Avenue, just west of South Claremont Street. Sergeant Joinville attempted to make the radio call for a license plate check. Unfortunately, the police dispatch told Sergeant Joinville to stand by due to heavy radio traffic from an armed robbery that was occurring just 6 blocks away on 4th Avenue. Before Sergeant Joinville could transmit the license plate number over the radio, he was shot by the suspect. At approximately 17-18 hours, Sergeant Joinville was found by 2 small boys on their bicycle. One of the boys went to the Gulf service station on the corner of East 4th and Delaware. The station attended that day with Bob, who raced back to Sergeant Joinville. At 17:25 hours, Bob got on the police radio and requested for immediate assistance for an officer down. We're blessed to have Bob meet again here today. Please join me in thanking him for his actions that day. Detective John Burr, who had been the best man at Gordon and Margaret's wedding, was the first on scene and found Sergeant Joinville. He was immediately transported to Mills Hospital, where Gordon was pronounced dead shortly thereafter. At the time of his death, Detective Sergeant Gordon Joinville was 34 years old, 12-year veteran of the San Mateo Police Department, and left behind his wife and 2 small children, ages 3 and 4. Starting at 1800 hours, the largest manhunt in San Mateo history was underway, with many officers responding from off-duty and searching for suspects. 2 days after the murder of Sergeant Joinville, captured the suspect in San Francisco. On March 14, 1969, the suspect, who will not be named in this ceremony, in respect for Sergeant Joinville, was found guilty for murdering a police officer and sentenced to death. He was called to join in expressing appreciation for the larceny. It was the deputy district attorney in this case who was responsible for the swift and legal accountability. Bill's professionalism and work ethic is truly an honor to Sergeant Joinville's life and everlasting memory. In 1972, the California Supreme Court found the death penalty unconstitutional, and the suspect spent the rest of his life in St. Quentin prison until he died in 2003. Sergeant Joinville's funeral was held on May 27, 1968, and he was buried at Skylawn Memorial Cemetery. The honor guard will be proceeding to Sergeant Joinville's burial site after the ceremony and present him the wreath that you see here today, provided by the Sergeants Association. Preparation for this memorial, I've had the chance to reflect on Sergeant Joinville's life and death. I smile on the life he lived, and my heart aches for the life that was taken away from us too soon. I'm forever in awe of the unwavering love and protection of Gordon's memory, honor, and service to the Department, which he held so dear. The question that continues to run through my mind, the one that I know haunts us all, is why Gordon? Why did this happen to such an amazing man and noble cop? Well, that question will always remain unanswered in our minds. Our hearts know the answer. All of us that suit up on a daily basis know that this unfortunate possibility of the job we have signed to do. Yet this profession and our calling. Many of us are living out our dreams and passion to serve and protect, to be the guardian of the community. To us, like Gordon being a police officer, it's not what we chose to do for a living. It defines who we are as a person. As an organization, we must continue Sergeant Joinville's legacy of service, duty, and honor as we thank him so much. At this time, we reflect on Sergeant Joinville and all the other fallen officers in a moment of silence led by our own communication.
At this time, I'd like to invite up Bill Larson, and then we will proceed to a moment of silence. Bill, please join us.
Thank you very much. Chief Sorensen served at our district during his service. 3 officers were murdered. The first was Smith officer. The next year, John Lyle from the Park Police Department, also murdered, shot dead at Grazer's Market parking lot. And then in 1968, we know what happened to Sergeant Joinville. Chief Sorensen personally tried all 3 of those cop killers, and he got the death penalty all 3. The first 2 assisted work. The killer of Eugene Ray was executed in 1961, 2 years after the murder. Officer Lyle's killer was executed in 1962. The system worked. It started to break down, unfortunately, with Sergeant Joinville's case. The killer of Sergeant Joinville also got the death penalty. And while he was on death row, waiting for his automatic appeal, the California Supreme Court in another murder case, as the sergeant just moments ago mentioned, found that the death penalty was not a dignified thing to carry out. And that meant that Sergeant Joinville's killer, along with Sirhan Sirhan, Robert Kennedy's killer, and Manson, the killer, all got commuted to life with possibility of parole, 5 years to life. They were transferred out of death row, and the killer of Sergeant Joinville was sent down to San Luis Obispo. The district attorney's office of San Mateo County fought hard to keep that killer in jail for the rest of his life, and we succeeded. When I left in 1982 to go to Santa Clara County DA's office, my good colleagues including our current wonderful district attorney, Steve Flagstaff, with the torch. And on those every few-year parole hearings, the killer was denied. And in 2003, the good news is, due to tobacco addiction, he died of lung and brain cancer. Every one of you do a wonderful job. People ask me, as a 39-year veteran prosecutor, what's the most significant thing you did in your career? And without hesitation, out of all the thousands of cases I was involved with, I easily tell them, participating successfully in thinking of killer, San Mateo, in prison until he died, was the most significant thing that I did. Thank you very much.
At this time, I invite all on-duty personnel to please turn up your department-issued radios and stand by for a moment of silence.
Department Sergeant Gordon Joinville, who was killed in the line of duty May 23, 1968. Attention all units. Today the San Mateo Police Department honors Detective Sergeant Gordon Joinville, who was killed in the line of duty while investigating a drug manufacturing case. Sergeant Joinville was a Navy veteran, loving husband and father, and a guardian of the community. Please join me as we take a moment of silence in remembering his dedication and sacrifice in protecting the community we all serve. Sergeant Joinville, the San Mateo community is eternally grateful for your ultimate sacrifice, and we will forever honor your courage, service, duty. In valor, there is hope. Central is clear. Resume normal radio time.
At this time, I invite our Police Chief, Ed Barberini, to close out the ceremony.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to recognize and thank Lieutenant Maravillas for putting this all together and her staff. I know Betsy, Anthony, Janine, and Joe, thank you very much. A lot of work goes into putting this together. Thank you to our partners at the fire service. We appreciate the respect and the class that you show during this day, a day of remembrance. And then finally to our electeds and those special members of the community that took the time to come out here and join us in remembering a lost member of our community. Thank you very much. We're here for primarily to remember and honor the memory of Sergeant Joinville, and rightfully so. And this day gives me a little bit of pause because it just recognizes and honors his memory. It also makes me reflect on what you all do every day. Unfortunately, and I'll wrap this up because we're in mourning days today. We're learning about some of our officers went to Stockton. Stockton Police Department carried one of their own. Tonight, the city of San Francisco is going. So in addition to remembering and honoring Sergeant Joinville and his courageous service and sacrifice to our city and our department, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for suiting up, putting on that uniform every day, knowing what the circumstances are. Not everybody appreciates your guys' what you do every day. And if it takes something like this to remember that, an opportunity for me to respect that. The morning plans that we're wearing on your back is Sergeant Joinville was killed. Should you get inquiries about why you're wearing a mourning band over the next few days, I encourage you to remind the residents of this city of the sacrifice of Sergeant Joinville made on their behalf, provide them with the circumstances of his death, and let them know that we're all sorry. That's the least of the sacrifice. So, thank you all for being here. I appreciate all that. All that you've done for us, all that everybody has done to show their respect. It means a lot to our department, it means a lot to our family. But most of all, thank you for what you do every day. You will always
At this time, our honor guard will be doing a dismissal.
Who's coming back? Who's coming back? Oh, the motorcyclist?
the honor guard and stuff, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit.